We see the lead. It is Gastron versus the Shadow Caesar. That is a good lead for 9alfi2. First of all, you're dealing a lot of damage. Yes, Trailblaze would knock out your Gastrodon, but you have shields.
And now you draw a shield from Alfie, and do you come in with your Giratina or your Gastrodon to try and sponge some of this charge attack pressure? Yes, you do. Martine straight in with the Giratina, and it's going to be responded to with the normal type Dunsparce, double resisting the ghost type Shadow Claws.
But we have seen that the Dragon Claw actually deals so much damage that you're putting this Dunsparce into a possible farm down range later on. Also, keep in mind, Shadow Caesar has some energy stored, while Gastrodon has an entire lake of energy stored.
And now the drill run will come through as Alfie maximizes out his energy on the Dunsparce. Drill run will take this Giratina into the low yellow health, but it won't threaten a knockout. One more will be needed. And now Dragon Claw could have been thrown, but Alfie's going to throw a drill run first to force a shield from Inadequance.
He wants to protect his Giratina from being sniped out of the match from a Gorzola. Astonish here goes to throw another Dragon Claw, and this will take out the Dunsparce. So much damage from this bulky Dragon-type Pokemon. Picks up its first KO in this Grand Finals.
The adjustment to that Dragon Claw makes it such an offensive threat. It does a huge amount of damage. Same type attack bonus. It shares a typing with its user. Giratina altered the Shadow form, doing huge damage to this Corsola as well.
Yo!
And now Alfie comes back in again with his Gastrodon.
Alfie is reading his opponent like nobody else in this tournament. The next simultaneous swap from him takes a Night Slash here to the face. Of course, Inadequate gets some damage off with this Shadow Scissor on the charge attack priority. Huge play by him as well. But now a Body Slam is going to connect. You still have some energy.
Alfie with a ton of energy still on this Gastrodon, but not much health. And there is a full health Gastrodon in the back for Inadequance. This is going to be big for him. Alfie is going to throw this Water Pulse. Inadequance will shield it up straight away. And Alfie now really needs to lean into his Galarian Corsola, which already has some energy. The switch clocks are so close to being up. It doesn't make a difference now. Alfie cannot afford to allow for a catch, but he needs to make the correct shield decision here.
For Martine, it is now really important to have a lot of energy stored at all times here. The HP is dwindling for Alfie. Alfie has to deny a catch here, but he is letting this go, but it's still chip damage.
That is a great wait from Alfie as he checks to see the Mud Slap go through, and now Inadequance will be trying to get this Corsola into a range where perhaps Giratina can Shadow Claw it, and Giratina's Shadow Claw comes through, but it isn't enough! The Corsola ends onto 1 HP, a charge attack priority here! There could be a Protect Shield KO! How much HP is it? Corsola, can you hang on? Inadequance is hoping, crossing his fingers, and then fades! It is a Shield KO! Inadequance goes up 1-0! Alfie did everything he could, but Corsola had 1 HP remaining, and a shield reduces your opponent's charge attack damage to 1 HP, and Inadequance's hands lift into the air as he celebrates the most clutch win, the first win of the Grand Finals here in Frankfurt. Frankfurt, are you entertained? This is the Grand Finals of the first regional championships in the 2026 season, and we are in for a treat. Closer it could not have been. What more can you do? You wait, you play to perfection, you ensure every fast attack, every charge attack goes where you want it to go. Alfie pulling out all of the stops, but it wasn't enough. Inadequance is the man of the moment, taking the advantage here in these Grand Finals, and that will give him so much confidence as he proceeds to try and become the Frankfurt Regional Champion. I think you could make 3 perfect gameplay moment videos out of this matchup. It is absolutely insane on which level those two trainers operate here. Alfie has anticipated swaps, played the perfect energy management, had the shield advantage in the end, had the energy advantage in the end, but he did not have enough HP. And now, the players line up once more as they get into Game 2. The same leads that we saw in Game 1, but 2 adjustments, one on either side of their backlines. Will the players work out what their opponents are strategizing? The first attack comes through, and it does again draw a shield from this Gastrodon.
Is Inadequance going to go for the same strategy? No! This time around we bring in the Blastoise, confusing our opponent perhaps, but a rather fast answer with this Cradley.
Blastoise throwing this water-type Hydro Cannon neutral against the grass and rock type of Cradilly. Not enough to take it into a range where even one more Hydro Cannon would threaten a knockout. And now Cradilly will over-farm. It wants to get into a position where it can take out the Blastoise and then potentially Rock Tomb whatever comes in next, because Alfie is not worried about these rollouts just yet.
There is 4 acids and now throws a Grass Knot here. Is almost at 2 charge attacks. Inadequance is going to protect this. Wants to hang on onto this Blastoise. He already has the Hydro Cannon stored. Swaps out, gets a bullet punch down. All the energy is gone.
Let's remember that Inadequance has a Hydro Cannon loaded on that Blastoise as he comes back in with this Shadow Scizor, and Alfie makes a decision on throwing the Body Slam into the Scizor. Will Inadequance put up his next shield? No, he won't. This might not knock out. It's resisted.
Oh, it hangs on with a slither of HP. Night Slash is going to connect. Also not going to knock out, but the damage is important.
And now Alfie will be putting everything on the back of his Galarian Corsola. Once he sees a Giratina come in, he will know that he cannot throw anything other than resisted charge attack damage into it. So will we see him pivot? Immediate pivot into the Galarian Corsola, trying to get these Astonishes through, and now the Blastoise comes back to start loading Hydro Cannons into the Galarian Corsola.
Giratina in an amazing position. Also, Inadequance transferred 1 Astonish damage onto the Blastoise because it's not super effective here. Also, the timer is not up. Inadequance wants to prevent this Gastrodon from body slamming his Blastoise there.
And Alfie's throwing this Nightshade, but it won't be enough to take down the Blastoise, and Blastoise already has a Hydro Cannon available that Alfie will almost certainly need to shield. He will now go for this farm down and try and unload energy into the Giratina. The switch clocks aren't yet up. Alfie does bank 1 Nightshade, but Inadequance has a shield available already.
The shield is being used here. Of course, the Gastrodon has nothing to offer. Now he just needs to guarantee that there is not going to be a catch from that Gastrodon. Oh, they're going to charge up. They're going to... When are you throwing this charge attack? The Ancient Power is going to be thrown into the Corsola. Will for sure knock out.
Ancient Power coming through as Inadequance hopes for maybe a boost, and this Gastrodon comes in and it has energy, but this is resisted. Will a Water Pulse plus Mud Slaps be enough? It's a Shadow Giratina. It doesn't do anywhere near enough, and Giratina reaches the Dragon Claw.
Inadequance goes up 2-0 versus Alfie. He seems absolutely unstoppable in this grand finals. 1 game away as he shows us and the crowd from winning his 2nd gold.
Inadequance is so far ahead in these grand finals. 1 more win. This is a best of 5. Alfie would need to win the next 3 games back to back if he wants to deny Inadequance his 2nd gold medal.
For the moment, because if he wins 3 in a row, he will have to do the same ordeal again. Inadequance looks unstoppable. This entire tournament, he has 3-0'd Patoman. She has 3-1'd Alfie. He is in such a good position right now. And it doesn't help Alfie that Inadequance has so many absolutely safe Pokemon in the matchup.
When Inadequance swapped in that Blastoise in game number 2, Alfie took perhaps half a second too long to respond with that Cradilly. And what that meant was that Cradilly was not able to get to back-to-back attacks. If it had, perhaps it could have thrown a Rock Tomb against the Shadow Scizor before it was sniped, because it went down and lost so much energy, and it just shows how hard it is to adapt when your opponent is bringing different safe swaps each time.
And look at how high the standard is that he keeps to himself. He's shaking his head like he was in some sort of a pickle here, while Alfie is also absolutely locked in, focused, doesn't give anything away, shows no signs of frustration from one game of Pokemon Go to the next to eventually try and become the Frankfurt regional champion. But his opponent is no less than Inadequance, the absolute champion of Utrecht, world's runner-up, and maybe future Frankfurt champion. It's game match point for Inadequance.
Game number 3 kicks off with Blastoise up against the Galarian Corsola, two bulky Pokemon, one with access to that super efficient Hydro Cannon, the other with just residual Astonish damage and Nightshades that can chunk its way through. Inadequance strikes first as Hydro Cannon lands.
He's outpacing the Corsola as well, already at the second Hydro Cannon, while Alfie is still going for Astonish after Astonish, perhaps wants to go up to 2 Astonishes.
And we've seen before what can happen when you leave your Pokemon low. You do leave them susceptible to a snipe. When a Pokemon comes in from the back benches and takes you out before you're able to unload your energy, Alfie does not want to let that happen, and he banks up as much energy as he can before he takes out this Blastoise.
Corsola, I want to say, is now in perfect farm down range for anything. Alfie will have to react quick to the Pokemon that Inadequance is bringing in. It is going to be the Shadow Giratina, and he gets the full 3 Shadow Claw farm down. Giratina is incredible neutral in this matchup.
Alfie does not want to give alignment. He won't want to give up shields easily. This is the matchup that he wants the Dunsparce in, but he recognizes that Dragon Claw is such a powerful move. I wouldn't be surprised to see him farm up to a ton of energy to prevent Inadequance from aggressively swapping in something that could take the energy. He gets a free rollout through as well. That could be huge for him.
That might have sent him over the 100% range though, because he has a lot of energy already. The Giratina is sitting there. It is still bulky. It is not going to take too much damage, but maybe 2 Drill Run will be enough to knock out. However, Inadequance is 1 shield up, and he only needs to land 1 Trailblaze. Oh, wow.
Drill Run now coming through just before this Night Slash. I think each of us have bated breath as to how this game is going to end. We've seen that the Giratina still has health available. There is a Gastrodon in the back, and Inadequance is able to one-shot it potentially with a Trailblaze. Alfie's going to come in now with that Gastrodon, and there is a huge shield decision to make here. If you let this through, you will lose. Is the shield going up? Yes, it does.
He protects Gastrodon from this massive damage. The timer is almost up for Inadequance. Alfie is racing to that Body Slam, trying to get it off. I don't know if Body Slam will be enough. Is Inadequance now at the Trailblaze? Can he knock out, or will he have to swap out immediately into the Giratina? He's trying to reach for the Trailblaze, but the Mud Slap down is happening. Giratina's coming in a last-ditch effort, but this is not enough HP.
A massive moment for Alfie as the Gastrodon is able to Mud Slap down the Shadow Sizzle. My heart was stopped. Inadequance and Alfie's probably were too. And now Gastrodon claws 1 game back from Inadequance in this Grand Final series.
The first time Alfie did not get the favorable lead, he all of a sudden wins the game, and that speaks for how neutral these matchups really are right now, because if you are safe swapping your Pokemon into another matchup, you might get a little bit of an energy head start that in game 2, one more time the game.
Every moment matters. Every decision at every level, every half second in these Pokemon Go Grand Finals could be critical to decide the outcome. Who will be the Frankfurt Regional Champion? Alfie has 1 point on the board, and he needs to use that momentum. He needs to get this next game as well if he wants any chance of claiming gold for himself.
He needs to win 5 more games against the Titan that is Inadequance, but if he wins 2 in a row, he has more breathing room. Inadequance, on the other hand, he is 1 game away from victory. Are we maybe seeing him again going back to this strategy he had before? Shadow Caesar Elite with Blastoise and Giratina in the back?
The players look almost ready to go. Inadequance calculating how can he utilize his Giratina altered Shadow form to best effect. And Alfie plotting. What can he do to stop it? The players are locked in. Game number 4 of these grand finals are ready to go. Here we are.
Inadequance versus Alfie, and Inadequance with a huge lead, absolutely walling the Gastrodon with Shadow Giratina. Alfie is farming up some energy. Is he maybe trying to get, what's he going to switch into? Dunsparce is the only real answer.
A big Dragon Claw coming in through. This got a massive damage buff this season. It's a little slower to reach, but look how much damage it does to the bulky Gastrodon. And now Alfie will come through with this Dunsparce to try and sponge some energy. Inadequance says, I'm happy to throw Dragon Claw once more.
This is looking super strong for Inadequance. Non-same type attack bonus boosted damage from Dunsparce is existing, but if it is against a bulky Pokemon with no super effective damage, the damage is really lackluster and Gastrodon is so bulky.
Let's remember that Alfie does have the switch clocks completely misaligned, meaning the energy on that Gastrodon might be able to go onto a Pokemon better than the Shadow Giratina altered. He might come in straight away after this Water Pulse lands to take advantage of the misaligned clocks. Yes, he does. Togekiss is now in, double resisting these Mud Slaps.
Togekiss looking indeed very strong here, but Water Pulse is better than Earth Power in this matchup. You do not want to take that damage if you're also faced with charged attack or fast attack pressure from the other Pokemon.
A great shield there from Alfie, and let's remind everyone that we are running Psyshock on this Togekiss. That means it is quicker to reach. It won't do as much damage as Dazzling Gleam, but it'll do more than enough potentially to this Giratina. And again, Alfie throws a Psyshock as Inadequance tries to farm up towards that ancient power.
Now let's remember, Inadequance has now unlocked the Gastrodon of Alfie that is sitting in the back row with a lot of energy, but he brings it in, catches the attack.
Will this ancient power knock out this Gastrodon? Can you still get a chance to throw off this Water Pulse? Yes, you can. That will do decent damage against the Giratina, and the Togekiss now has the potential to try and sweep the endgame.
Now Inadequance's best friend, the Wigglytuff, will have to carry for him, brings it in immediately. Of course, Togekiss is pacing fast, but there is so much damage!
I think Inadequance might be able to just fully fast attack down this Togekiss. It's not a very bulky Pokemon. There's still so much health left on that Gastrodon.
Show the world your bow, Wigglytuff! Goes in, no damage registered yet from this second charm. If this knocks out, it won't transfer, but there is still Giratina. There is still Gastrodon. How much damage can you do?
Inadequance about to return with the Giratina. He puts the Togekiss in range where Mud Slap might be enough. Mud Slap is enough.
Giratina returned! Inadequance is your Frankfurt special event regional champion!
Inadequance, once again, he is inevitable!
He is the master of dragons. He is the best player in Europe in this special season right here. He has won the Frankfurt Regional Championships. Inadequance with a Mud Slap down on a flying type Pokemon.
Every player doing their best to try and stop the Shadow Giratina altered.